So it looks like the Pacers just got beat in the NBA Finals. For as much as I couldn't stand this team's dismantling of my New York Knicks, or listening to Reggie Miller's commentary in the process, I need to give them props. I really wanted to rip on them in this video, but after how it ended, after outlasting this OKC juggernaut for 7 games, I just can't. They built an NBA Finals team on a tight budget with a great coach and without the kind of skeevy machinations we're used to in this league. They built for depth and fit rather than taping a bunch of max contracts together and hoping everything holds together. Maybe that becomes a standard, maybe it doesn't. The history of this league tells us that other teams are going to try and copy their approach. But I don't think that's really possible. This Pacers team had an attitude, these feisty cast-offs diving and swarming with plenty of depth to keep rotating players in. You can't really replicate that without good vibes and total buy-in from the team. If I had to sum up the Pacers build in a single sentence, it would be this. They take advantage of other teams' mistakes. They stole Tyrese Halliburton after Sacramento decided he was incompatible with De'Aaron Fox, a worse player. They found Rick Carlisle, highly respected championship coach, after he was let go by Dallas for beefing with Luka, where he was apparently not alone. Pascal Siakam became a Pacer for pennies on the dollar because Toronto traded him too late and couldn't secure a real package for an All-NBA forward. And look, this is more common than we think. The Knicks got Jalen Brunson because Dallas didn't want to offer him 4 years, $55 million. The Lakers got James Worthy because Cleveland had a crazy owner back in the day who sold off the team's draft pick so his Cavaliers could get bounced in the first round. We only remember Rajon Rondo as a Celtic because Suns owner Robert Sarver sold the pick to save money. You get my point. As an NBA franchise, you can't just avoid mistakes. You have to take advantage when your opponents slip up. So what does this have to do with the Pacers? Well, what if I told you that Indiana nearly signed a player that would have made this whole run impossible? This is the story of Deandre Ayton, the man who was almost a Pacer. That's a name you probably haven't heard of in a while, right? Once upon a time, we thought this guy was a franchise cornerstone on a championship contender. Nowadays, he's cashing checks and dodging games up in Portland. He's become kind of a ghost. The Blazers play really late, especially for me in New York, and not too many of their games make a national broadcast. He may as well be playing on the moon for those of us on the East Coast. Still, that shouldn't downplay his time in Phoenix. He came into the league as this big, strong rim runner who could finish lobs and grab boards. The Chris Paul trade transformed Ayton's career. He went from the guy drafted before Luka who failed a drug test to the big man who could go toe-to-toe with the rising generation of skilled bigs that have so far defined the 2020s. And the rest you know. Phoenix reaches the finals in 21, then they get humiliated by Luka and the Mavs the next season. All this brings us to summer 2022. Ayton was up for contract renewal and clamoring for a new deal, but the Suns were dragging their feet. Why wouldn't they want to re-sign their former number 1 pick, starting franchise center? Well, barring his liability as a non-shooter, there were some pretty big red flags upstairs. There's an old interview from before the draft in 2018 where Ayton was asked about his main goal entering the NBA. He replied, "Definitely getting my second contract. That's my success." That's super weird, right? Like, I get it, he's trying to do the false humble thing. A lot of guys, even lottery guys, never even get a second payday. It tells us something about where his head was at then and where it is now. Still, I can sympathize some, considering Ayton was only entering restricted free agency. What's that? According to the NBA Collective Bargaining Agreement, rookie contracts are restricted to a 4-year deal with club options in the 3rd and 4th seasons. Players make more money the higher they're drafted, but overall they have very limited autonomy until this contract ends. When a player's rookie contract expires, they enter restricted free agency. This means they can approach any team and try and hammer out a deal. If everyone agrees, the same offer, also known as an offer sheet, is presented to their original team, which holds the right to match that offer. If they say no, the player can sign the deal and join a new team. So yeah, Ayton was an RFA and signed a 4-year, $133 million offer sheet with Indiana on July 14th, 2022, which Phoenix then matched, and Ayton signed the new contract 4 days later. It definitely caused some tension with some funky quotes coming out of training camp. Most players, especially the elite ones, just get extended and never hit restricted free agency. But Ayton was a weird tweener player, underqualified for a max, but also overqualified for a standard salary. He only got the money he did because Phoenix was forced to give it to him. not because anyone on the team believed he was worthy of the payday. What followed was the Suns' topsy-turvy 2022-2023. In September, serious allegations of misconduct hit team owner Robert Sarver. In December, he announced his intentions to sell the team. In February, the move is official and Matt Ishbia buys the team for $4 billion. That same month, Ishbia becomes the Michael Jordan of new owner syndrome when he trades the farm for Kevin Durant. 2 months later, the team falls to the eventual champion Nuggets in 6 games. That's a lot, right? One second, Phoenix was this really balanced, super fun, deep team with a mix of youth and experience. The next, their only path to a championship was for Durant and Booker to combine for 70 every single night. With the demands of this new framework, heads were going to roll. The team fired Coach Monty Williams in May, sent Chris Paul to Washington in June, and sent Ayton away to Portland in September. All of a sudden, the team that was 96 minutes of basketball from the title was all but gone. And Ayton struggled ever since. Part of this is losing Chris Paul. That guy makes big men better wherever he goes. But I also think it goes back to that contract and his motivation. Ayton wanted to get his second contract. He got it. And after that, what's left? And the last 2 years have shown us that Indiana really dodged a bullet. This is an ownership that has consistently illustrated they are hesitant to big-time spending. If Ayton was still a Pacer, it's unlikely they would have been able to trade for Siakam or build the deep bench that's carried them. There's also a chance that Halliburton's passing could have reignited Ayton's career, and he becomes the elite rim runner from the 2021 playoff run. But who knows? Regardless, it's important to remember how avoiding a tiny misstep can save a franchise. The Celtics nearly mortgaged their future for the chance to draft Justice Winslow back in 2015. What if Golden State sent Klay Thompson to Milwaukee instead of Monte Ellis? So, good work dodging the bullet, Pacers. Because of responsible spending, buying low on quality role players, and clever coaching, you earned that spot in the finals. I picked OKC to win the series, and it's a really shame it all came down to a Halliburton injury. So what comes next? We'll see.